There is this thing that keeps your insides in. Sometimes it itches. Sometimes it aches. Miraculously thin, it somehow reaches into the deepest part of who we are.
Your skin tells your whole story. Your face, your expression, tells something about you, yourself inside.
How you guys doing? This is Westland, where we grew up at. We love our neighborhood, we love our friends. God bless all y'all.
It evolved millennia ago as a unique survival suit, and eventually became something more, an intimate canvas, alive with meaning.
That's how you are. Your tattoo shows you everything about yourself. You need a little reminder, you look at yourself, you're like, oh, I got this right here, you know what I mean?
It's an amazing situation when you have a culture, a tribe, a person that makes a commitment to that amount of pain.
All the while, it protects us, unites us, sometimes divides us.
My skin color, that's part of who I am, but that's not all of who I am.
There is no black race, there is no Caucasoid race. When you look at human skin, why does it come in different colors?
It's a microscopic, cellular ecosystem called you.
With it, we navigate the most extreme challenges of custom and culture. In it, we go on some of our most intimate adventures. What is this thing called skin? Try ignoring your skin while taking your clothes off in front of hundreds of strangers. Would you blush so deeply if skin weren't linked to matters of such consequence? Beauty and aging, morality, race and sex.
I would get up there in the middle. It's an art event. Thank you.
To Spencer Tunick, skin is the raw ingredient for art.
Art event. Thank you. Tomorrow
And
morning.
today, in Santa Fe, New Mexico, he's trying to talk hundreds of people right out of their clothes.
I think everyone should come. It's about art, and it's a wonderful thing.
Tunick sets out to cross the line between the skin we hide and the skin we flaunt. It's a leap most people have trouble imagining.
Hi guys, how are you? I'm doing this art event. You should all do it. It's not sexual. It's about forming shapes.
You don't mean that, do ya?
But not really that.
I'm too old for that.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am too.
No, look at your energy.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I go down the mood. I will if you will, Dwayne.
Yes, I got you.
Well, I really don't think it's a personality that gets people naked. I think it's the art and the idea that gets people naked.
The idea is that skin is beautiful anywhere, even if it gets you into trouble. Tunick has been arrested 5 times, but he's defended his art all the way to the Supreme Court and won.
I think people have dignity in my work. Nudity, to the people that pose for me, doesn't always represent sex and crime. People want to regain their strength and regain their ownership of their skin.
Hey, please come tomorrow.
Just gonna throw their clothes off and throw it and run, even though, you don't really want to run because then everything will jiggle.
Beverly Berger and her daughter Erica have decided to pose for Tunick's event.
Yeah,
I'm not a Cindy Crawford, although somehow we always inside feel like we should be. And when this opportunity came up, I decided that it's a chance to just get one with my body, be with it, and get on with my life.
This is my art event, and I think, excuse me, ma'am?
But on the street, modesty rules.
How about it?
Well, except for the nude part of it.
Yeah, I work here every single day.
At sunrise and all that?
There's a physiology conference.
Well, leaves tomorrow?
No, we're leaving.
Yeah, we have to leave early.
No.
We're busy tomorrow. You're not too busy for me, please.
I shouldn't be so confident that I can get the entire country naked.
What is it about skin? What do we really know about the largest organ of the body? Ever since the primordial oceans first churned with life, skin has been utterly basic to survival. Over time, fragile membranes evolved into the most ingenious skin designs. But only one creature lost the scales, feathers, and fur and wound up in the incredibly flexible human version. The dermal prints on our fingers and toes proclaim, this skin is mine, one of a kind. But everyone's skin is an anatomical wonder. At the surface, skin is a tough outer layer that keeps us waterproof and seals us off from invaders. Out here, we're wearing away, shedding millions of dead skin flakes every minute. But fly down a sweat pore and skin is undeniably alive. A cell-making factory churns away in the epidermal layer above. Just below, in the dermis, skin is like a jungle on an alien planet. Miles of blood vessels bringing nutrients. A network of fibers holding us together. Millions of sweat glands keeping us cool. And throughout, an array of exquisitely sensitive nerves. Without skin, life would be impossible. But with it, life is complicated. Just ask any school kid. When people see the color of your skin, they make assumptions about who you are.
Are you Indian? Was what one of them asked me in my woodshop class. And as soon as I nodded yes, he began skipping around in circles going, ooh, ooh, ooh. No, not that type of Indian. I'm the type of Indian that comes from a part of Asia called India. Oh, you mean, would you like to buy a slushie? And, ooh, thank you, come again. How come you don't have a red dot on your forehead? Because I'm Muslim. The main religion in India is called Hinduism, and the girls there be wearing tikas on their forehead to represent. I'm not Hindu, I'm Muslim. Oh, you're Muslim. So do you have anything to do with those bombings that be going on? Those are all just stereotypes about those who are like me, not who I really am.
How did this amazing membrane, designed by nature to ensure our survival, become so intimately tied to our humanity? How did skin begin? Every human skin tells the story of an ancient journey. Could we ever follow the trail back to the beginning?
Anatomically modern humans have been on the move for 120,000 years. And as they've gone into these different places, they've undergone myriad biological and cultural adaptations. And some of the most interesting ones have been of the skin.
Anthropologist Nina Jablonski wants to answer the most basic question about human skin. When and how did it originate?
The human skin has a very ancient history. And human skin, in a sense, has had very human qualities long before we were really human. So it's a real detective story because it's an important part of human evolution that begs to be understood, and yet we have no direct fossil evidence for it.
Like every detective, Jablonski needs clues. She hopes to find them in the place where early humans may have originated.
It's early morning on the African savanna. The animals are just beginning to wake up. And if we're lucky, we'll be able to see the baboons. They're just beginning to stir. The African savanna, although it looks fairly gentle in this morning light, is actually a very, very rigorous environment. And when you think of early hominids or their descendants, they had many environmental challenges to face. One of the elements of this very important adaptation of early humans is what happened to their skin. How did we evolve from being fairly hairy-looking primates to the naked primates we are today?
In East Africa, skin comes in a bewildering variety. Behind every skin design here, Jablonski realizes there is a strategy for dealing with the savanna's all-pervasive heat. How does a baboon stay cool when the temperature climbs toward 110?
He's a bit suspicious of us. What's really interesting about this big male, you can see what thick fur he has. So you'd think that he'd be really sort of boiling in that suit, but he's not. He's pretty comfortable.
He's comfortable because baboons conserve their energy in the hot sun. Their thick fur restricts the free flow of sweat. So foraging too actively can mean overheating, which can lead to death on these hot savannas. But around 2 million years ago, early humans developed a roving way of life, and they may have needed a different skin to go with it.
When humans really start hoofing it during the course of a day, then all of a sudden, being baboon-like doesn't work. Having a thick coat of fur doesn't work. And that's where the skin story comes in.
Over millions of years, our ancestors lost that thick coat of hair and developed an ingenious system to avoid overheating. You can see it in our skin today. We are still covered with hair, about 5 million follicles on average, but it's more fluff than fur. Hair miniaturized, sweat glands multiplied, and our skin evolved until we could dissipate heat faster than any other mammal. It was a biological revolution that helped us leave the shelter of the forest and populate a planet. All through the miracle of sweat. Within the dermis, blood vessels contract and expand to regulate our temperature. Coiled sweat glands discharge sweat and salts to the surface, where evaporation cools the body in seconds. Even the tiny ridges of a fingertip harbor sweat glands just below the surface. Skin is always there, constantly dispersing heat, keeping the fragile human engine from boiling over. But of all the ways our skin responds, the most mysterious may be the one that happens when we touch. At the Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami, this intensive care unit holds babies born prematurely. So new to life, they're on the border of death. Standard procedure demands that preemies be kept in germ-free isolation. But Dr. Tiffany Fields has spent a career arguing that touching newborns, even preemies, is essential.
What a baby's crying out to be is touched. And mothers will instinctively, and fathers as well, of course, will instinctively touch and stroke their babies and hold them to their bare skin. Babies who are not touched, like babies who are in orphanages, for example, first they become failure to thrive or they fail to grow, and then ultimately they die.
When this baby, Kendrea Leone, was born 3 months early, she weighed 2 pounds, 7 ounces, slightly more than skin and bones. Touch may turn out to be her path to survival, and she may not be the only one.
The elderly are also touch deprived. They don't have opportunities to touch people, and our society is there's so much touch taboo that they certainly aren't going to touch strangers.
In a stroke of inspiration, Tiffany Fields recruited elderly volunteers like Pura Dumenigo to massage premature babies. It's an act of life-saving repeated here 3 times every day. Skin at both ends of the human experience meets. And when it does, these irritable preterm babies stop crying.
I'm here quite a bit, but since my husband died, the last place I want to be is home. I've always liked the babies, and I can tell it's good for the babies. And it's good for me.
Studies that we've conducted show that these babies gain 49% more weight than babies who aren't being massaged. They go home 6 days earlier, and they're also continuing to show a weight advantage out at 1 year of life. The same happens with the person who's doing the massage. Their depression levels dropped. Their trips to the doctor's office decreased because they weren't getting sick.
How can something so simple have such a profound effect? Scientists believe massage may stimulate an ancient part of the brain, lowering stress and encouraging babies to thrive. In fact, brain and skin are deeply connected from the earliest moments of life. Touch is one of the first senses to develop. Even in the womb, a baby feels its way to bring hand to mouth. Sensation begins just below the surface of the skin in nerve fibers. Some are specialists, waiting to detect a signal as specific as the pain from a pinprick. A kiss is largely the domain of Meissner's corpuscles. Our lips are densely packed with them. But often the nerves work in concert, firing all at once to decipher the world around us. Without touch, we couldn't move, react, or feel a caress. But when it comes to communicating through skin, physical contact is only the beginning. At Northumbria University in Northern England, scientists are learning that our largest organ plays a role in sexual attraction. not through touch, but through chemistry.
I think the skin is a sex organ. It's a very interesting part of the body, and it's often one that is kind of glossed over or kind of ignored. The skin produces chemicals that, when they're released into the environment, can actually change how people perceive you in terms of your attractiveness.
That should be fine, just with one piece of
Dr. Nick Neve wanted to show that odors discharged from glands in the skin can have an effect on the human mating game.
Hi, just come in, Mark. That's great. Any problems?
No problems.
No, excellent. Same again tomorrow then.
Okay, then, yeah.
Great, thanks. Right, so yeah.
Pheromones are chemicals that are secreted from certain special glands in the body, typically found in the armpits and the groin. We're using the armpit versions in case you get worried.
Hi, Joe, come in.
Scientists knew that pheromones affect sexual selection among animals, but what about people?
Okay. Bye now. Thanks, bye.
To find out, Neve and his team collected cotton pads saturated with the underarm secretions of male volunteers. They hid the pads beneath a table and invited female subjects to take a simple test.
Take a seat in front of the computer. This is a movie which shows a number of different faces.
The girls, of course, have no knowledge at all that this is about pheromones. They come in, they sit down, they see the guy on the video, and they make their choices, they leave, and they don't know that pheromones have been involved.
The computer offers a menu of faces, morphing from effeminate to supermasculine. And remarkably, when pheromone-laden pads were hidden under the table, women were strongly attracted to more masculine faces.
And we've done several studies now, and in each of these studies, we have definitely found that pheromones have some kind of influence on mood or females' ratings of male attractiveness. So I think that the skin is an incredibly important part of human mating.
Skin is what makes us sensual beings. No wonder we work so hard at keeping it private.
I'm going to do a nude photo shoot for Spencer.
Tunic.
Okay, I'll call you when I'm done.
Actually, I'm fine. I thought I was going to be a nervous wreck.
You think you'd be more nervous?
I'm like happy.
In Santa Fe, New Mexico, Beverly and Erica Berger are ready to shed their inhibitions. And so are plenty of others.
It's a good challenge for me. It's a very good challenge for me. I'm going to get a little bit more comfortable in my butt today.
I'm one of those kind of people who won't even undress in a public, dressing room in a swimming pool.
I think naked's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I think the world's too stuffy.
We have nice bodies. We look good naked.
Comfortable or not, this is the moment.
Right now, my intention is to just group the people together and let this organism fall naturally without placing people too much. So it's less about identity and more about shape.
And you just knew that there was going to be touching, and then all of a sudden the touching felt warm. It was like a whole bunch of friends, or maybe like being a baby in bed with the whole family. Heads on my leg, my head on somebody's leg, who knows what, where.
As soon as I took my clothes off, I wasn't me anymore, I was art. Because all of a sudden there was no description between us. There was nothing to really, let people know that this is my style, this is who I am. It took that away. It felt like I never wanted to get dressed again.
Even in the Santa Fe art world, an acre or so of naked skin might seem just a little risque.
I know it's hard.
But the idea of skin as art is an ancient one. From the beginnings of human culture, we've been drawn to our skin as an intimate canvas. There are still a few places left where skin is revered, where who you are from one stage of life to the next is marked on the skin with colored dye or the point of a knife. Today, photographer Chris Rainier is on rough southern Ethiopian roads. For the last 5 years, he's traveled the world on a quest to photograph cultures still practicing the ancient art of skin decoration.
Documenting tattooing and scarification, it's taken me all over the globe. I think throughout the South Pacific, throughout Asia, throughout Africa, North America, and Europe. And to see how it's sort of translated from traditional cultures into contemporary modern culture, for me, is fascinating. So here we are down in the Omo Valley of Ethiopia, and the skin is very dark, and you find in cultures where the skin is dark, they don't tattoo, they mark the body, they cut the body. So down here they have beautiful forms of scarification.
The Hammer people of this area endure the pain of decorative scarring.
What's the greeting?
And Rainier wants to understand why.
Hello, Nagaya. Nagaya. Hey, Nagaya. Nagaya. Fantastic. Now, have many of these women gone through the cutting of the skin?
Many of the Hammer women bear scars inflicted by whipping. For them, it confers great status.
Bravery, brave. She feels brave. Brave, you see, brave. But it is painful at the beginning, that's what she says. So she drinks milk and she eats honey, you see, after being,
So there's a celebration.
Celebration, a very big, Well, nobody forces them. They do it willingly.
So they do it willingly.
Yeah, willingly. Is she?
Each scar tells a story about the woman who endured it. And today, Rainier will get to see for himself what it means. An important initiation ritual is getting underway in this village. A young man, Wela Gudo, will make the transition from boyhood to manhood, and it's a cause for great celebration. If he can jump across the backs of a herd of bulls, he will become marriageable. But his sisters feel the pain of his departure from the family and do not want to let him go. Now, a ritual battle begins. The women taunt, and the men strike back. With each crack of the whip, Wela Gudo's sisters prove their bravery, submit to tradition, and agree to let their brother go.
I think it's an amazing situation when you have a person that makes a commitment to that amount of pain. And as we're witnessing with this bull running ceremony, both genders, men and women, there's an initiation process. And so what better way to show your village, your society, that you have gone through this initiation than the marking of the body.
The scars will forever bind these women to their brother, ensuring his lifelong support. Self, community, spirit, a rite of passage marked on the skin.
Yo!
oh, you know, oh, I got to go. You never know till
My
you
skin,
go with the
that's me. You know what I'm saying? It's like a body canvas to express myself of whatever I want to do. Just zzz, and the big one on my back, that's for all my boys, you know what I'm saying? My homeboys that's down with me to the death, from the womb to the tomb. This right here said Asian boy. Asian boys. Well, we say goes, you know what I mean?
These days, it's not just in traditional cultures that people use their skin to announce who they are. Welcome to the world of the urban American gang.
The tattoos, they don't lie. Tattoos tell what kind of person they are and what they're all about. And it gives us an idea who we're dealing with from tattoos.
Plainclothes officers Mike Vale and Bob Hogan worked the gang unit in Lynn, Massachusetts. On their beat, the wrong tattoo in the wrong neighborhood can get you killed.
This street here, it's Asian boys territory. This is a house. We're taking numerous guys from this house here. Actually, this is,
the gangs here get in trouble for fighting, selling drugs, and stealing cars. So what do they do in their spare time?
I'm from Lynn 781, cuz. City of Sin, big bad Asian boy. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm from.
It's called a tat party. All you need is a pen, a battery, and a sharpened guitar string.
For real.
The result? A bond that ties gang members to each other.
That's it green, eh?
Tell you like that. You know what I mean? You can't get any better than this.
With an armful of gang tattoos, it's hard to avoid trouble with the cops. So what do you do if you want to get out of the gang life?
They took pictures of me when I got arrested of all my tattoos. They checked my record and seen my records and stuff like that, and they think, oh, that's not a good kid, that's a bad kid, and you know, it's hard to like prove to them like you're trying to, you know, change your life, you know, but I just keep on trying, you know.
Neil Ten's life isn't all that uncommon for a young man growing up in this crowded Cambodian enclave outside Boston. Neil was just 3 years old when his parents fled the violence of the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia in the 1970s. As parents struggled with a traumatic past, children like Neil were often left to find their own way to fit in.
And then after that, like we moved to Lynn, and that's when like the trouble started. I get involved with gangs and stuff like that, skip schools and drugs, and my brother started getting in trouble. I don't know, my parents separated. My dad went back to Cambodia. My mom, I don't know, you know, it's like every day, like, you know, I just wish that, like, you know, every one of my family could have been together. School of Hard Knocks. Just like remind me like the life I've been through and where I came from and how tough it is to go through life.
Neil was arrested for gang fighting and spent 2 weeks in jail. What he saw there was enough to turn him away from the gang life. Today, Neil is traveling to downtown Boston, hoping for a new start. With him is his friend and gang brother Malign, who is also trying to make a new life.
It's not worth it to have, you know, something that you don't want there anymore and something that you're not belong to anymore and something that you don't want to die for.
Dr. Rox Anderson at the Massachusetts General Hospital pioneered the use of lasers for removing tattoos.
I tell you what I'm going to do is I will turn this down a little bit.
Today he'll start Malign on the first of 10 sessions.
Set this
feel kind of nervous.
You feel nervous? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's okay to feel nervous. That's just the way everybody feels. I'll give you a little warning, okay? 3, 2, 1. So,
oh,
so how's
cool.
it feel?
Fine, no hurt at all.
You're not impressed, are you?
No.
He should be impressed. For a fraction of a second, the laser is concentrating millions of watts into his skin.
Every once in a while, I meet a tattoo that goes away in a single treatment. We'll see if
the breakthrough really was to understand how to use pulses of light to injure only the cells that are containing the tattooing.
Unharmed, the rest of the cells can quickly start what may be the skin's most amazing task. The moment its surface is harmed, the skin acts to block infectious bacteria from getting in and fluids from leaking out. Blood starts clotting, and a hyperproduction of cells kicks into gear. Flowing toward the center from all sides of the wound, migrating cells eventually meet and multiply until the skin's normal thickness is restored. For Malign and Neil, the healing appears to have begun already.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Good.
I feel like I got rid of a part of me, you know? Part of me's all gone. The bad part of my past is gone now, you know?
Soon the canvas will be almost blank. His gang life just a ghostly outline. Malign and Neil may now get the break they need. But sometimes the trouble with skin runs much too deep to be fixed by a laser or a change of heart.
Hear me, America, for I will not be silent. I will not go gentle into that good night or anywhere else you wish me to go. For I am here, and here I'll stay until you acknowledge me or die trying. For I am your darker brother you rather keep in the closet, the invisible man you choose not to see, the millionth man wishing to be counted, the rapper and the preacher, speaking the truth to you in love, but by all means necessary. I am the ghost of decades past, of slavery and lynchings, of white sheets and burning crosses, of attacked dogs and fire hoses, of wait and be patient. I am the one who got away from the projects, drugs, gangs, and prisons, who works on Wall Street, Madison Avenue, the Wilshire District, and a Magnificent Mile, but can't catch a cab, or buy a home, or get a loan, or date your daughter, or live next door to you. Am I bugging you? Have I got under your skin? Have I got under your skin? Have I got under your skin?
When I was a small child, my dad, my mom, and I were driving in Louisiana, visiting my grandparents. My mom and dad were driving across the country down there, and some police pulled them over and questioned and eventually arrested my dad because he was in the car with a white woman and a young white child. I really didn't notice it so much until it was brought up as a question from somebody else. For example, that's your child? Or that's your dad? And then it became something that I questioned in the sense that, you know, why are they asking me that? That's always been my dad. When I was in high school, people called me half-breed, Oreo. People called me zebra. So I took that and I turned it into something that was more empowering to myself. They'd say, hey, zebra, and I'd be like, yeah, what? You know, I'm black, I'm white, I'm the melting pot, I'm America.
So much confusion, so many generations of strife over the color of skin.
The most basic question that has to be asked when you look at human skin is, well, why does it come in different colors? Geographers and human biologists and anthropologists have been looking at this for years.
Anthropologist Nina Jablonski suspected that the answer might depend not on human differences, but on what we all share. Millions of years ago, when early humans lost their fur, they became more vulnerable to UV radiation.
If you have a hairless, sweaty skin that's lightly pigmented out in the equatorial sun, it's not a very good idea. So the skin of early humans really had to undergo a change that would protect it from ultraviolet radiation. So what was recruited? The old evolutionary standby, more melanin.
Melanin is an ancient molecule manufactured in the skin by special pigment cells, like tiny starfish with flexible arms. Stimulated by sunlight, they wield their arms like fueling hoses, pumping melanin into nearby skin cells. And as those cells migrate to the surface, they protect the body with tiny shields made of melanin. The more melanin, the greater the protection, and the darker the color of the skin. But if melanin is so good for us, why did some become lighter skinned? The question pushed Nina Jablonski to use a rather unusual tool for an anthropologist. She went to NASA and borrowed a satellite.
When you look at the levels of ultraviolet radiation over the surface of the Earth, you realize some remarkable things. First of all, you realize that in the northern hemisphere, huge areas receive very little ultraviolet radiation during the year. Areas around the equator on a yearly basis receive much more UV throughout the year than areas closer to the poles.
Over time, generations of humans migrated out of Africa to regions with less ultraviolet radiation. And where they needed less protection from the sun, Jablonski believes their skin got lighter. And that means that color is simply an adaptation to the world around us. Combining satellite readings with observations on the ground, Jablonski's team has created an entirely new map of the world. Earth rendered in skin. If her theories are correct, the amazing variety of human color is a reflection of the Earth itself.
There are no races. There is no black race. There is no Caucasoid race. There are simply people in different parts of the world with different attributes, some of them very good biological adaptations to the environment. I think in this way, science can actually set us free.
The faces of Nairobi, Kenya reflect a skin color in harmony with this tropical environment. But the picture isn't that simple. As in many parts of the world, skin here is contested terrain. And that has turned skincare consultant Irene Njoroge into a crusader.
I used to get a lot of ladies coming in with skin problems. And what I noticed was that the skin was burnt and the cheeks on this area. Otherwise, lovely skin sort of had some scars or what are called stains. And I'd ask them what they use and they'd just describe all sorts of things like mercury-based products, a very dangerous metal. And so I started crusading against them.
From the back alleys of Nairobi to high-tech laboratories around the world, skin lighteners are now a multi-million-dollar industry. Although Irene Njoroge educates her beauty school students about the dangers of skin lighteners, Many feel the need to use them.
When I started using the cream, I was beautiful and I was soft, smooth, everything. I looked attractive. But after staying for maybe 3 weeks, it started changing. I just felt pain on the eye areas. It started changing to brackish, and it was so painful. I can't face the sun.
If you can't face the sun in equatorial Africa, you have a problem. But for some, the results have been even more serious. A few of the creams have been linked to far more toxic effects: weakened immune response, organ failure, even death. Activists like Irene Joroge have worked hard to get the worst of the lighteners banned. But enforcement is another story.
This was a notice that was in the papers when the products were banned, and it's warning the public of all these products. But you'll be surprised to find that the majority of these products listed here are the same ones that are being sold everywhere. 80% of ladies in Kenya have used or are still using skin lightening products.
My skin is so, it's not good. They don't want to work with me. They don't want my company when they're going places. And I feel so bad.
Dark girls don't get married or they are not attractive to men. So I had to take a point of bleaching myself or highlighting myself so that I can be attractive.
I wanted to be more bright, to look attractive, and I wanted people to love me more.
The use of skin lighteners isn't just some schoolgirl fad. Skin inequality has been years in the making.
The skin creams promise a new life, actually, not just a lighter skin. If you're lighter skin, supposing you've applied for a job and one applicant is light, one is very dark, and they both have exactly the same qualifications, chances are the lighter skinned person will get the job. I mean, that's a reality.
But now, the reality may be changing. A new face of Africa is emerging as outdated ideas of beauty are giving way.
The one and only. It is me, and I refuse to wear shoes. I'm going all natural and African.
These young Kenyan fashion models are determined to break in, but they're proud of the skin they were born in and have taken a stand against lightening it.
I wouldn't bleach my skin. I mean, my family is very dark. I'm the lightest skin there, and I feel envious when I see my brothers. They're really dark, and I wish I was like them.
I prefer my skin, I prefer the way I am. Because black is striking. You know, it's really beautiful.
From the streets of Kenya to the runways of Paris, some of the hottest models today make a virtue of their African roots.
What has been coming out of Africa recently has been a very strong African look, very strong features, very African. I mean, more African than African is.
Usually I get different kind of work when they're looking for an interesting look. Let's say maybe they ask for something exotic or different. Then I get work.
Look at me.
As the new look jumps from light skin to dark, it's leaving out a lot of faces in the middle.
So I get there, and they said to me, "Oh, Deborah, I'm really sorry, but you're not going to get the job." I said, "Why?" They said, "You're too light-skinned. We need somebody who's properly African." I said, "What do you mean properly African? I'm a Maasai. How much more African can you get?" I said, "No,
I think they look for extremes to exaggerate that African thing. Yeah? But it's not
really
extreme. It should not be extreme. It ranges.
Maybe we're learning that all skin is beautiful. That there isn't much sense in drawing arbitrary lines between light and dark. But no matter what we think about the color of our skin, one thing seems inescapable. Eventually, the skin we're in begins to show some wear and tear. The collagen fibers that once were springy as a rubber band are now encumbered by connective tissue. Like broken springs in an old mattress, they lose their snap, and the skin that served us so well begins to sag.
I had beautiful skin at one time, peaches and cream. Yeah, I aged, I must have. But I still think I look pretty good.
Happy Valentine's Day!
We depend on skin throughout our lives. And it rewards us by recording the lives we've led. The wars we've fought, the people we've loved, are etched in wrinkles, right on the surface.
I've had a journey, really. And one day when I looked into the mirror and saw those wonderful little lines just accompanying me, and I recognized they would be with me the rest of my life.
Well, the ship was hit. Bullets and bombs were flying around, and I felt a funny sensation there, and a little bit over my eye, and on my knee.
I was watching my mother making donuts. I went like this and took the whole pot with me. It's right over my leg. You want to see it?
Her maiden name was Margie Sheskin. She said, "My God, you really love me. You went through pain to get this tattoo." As though it was nothing.
I've accepted people for who they are, not based on skin, and they have apparently done the same for me. And of course, I'm here tonight for tango, and all that matters for tango is be a good dancer.
There is this thing that keeps your insides in. Sometimes it aches. Sometimes it makes us happy. It is the borderline between me and you, us and them. A strange survival suit that somehow makes us human.